Hey folks, this is Rhykker, bringing you a showcase of a Diablo 3 patch 2.4 Crusader build that is currently killing it on the public test realm. Now this will not be a super in-depth guide like most of my other guides, because we're likely to see some major shifts before patch 2.4 is released. So do check back in the future for any video updates on this or other Crusader builds. Now the heart of this build is the Legacy of Nightmares set, the no set set. As long as you have no other set bonuses, your damage dealt is increased by 800% and you take 4% less damage for every ancient item you have equipped. So very important for this build is being decked out in as many ancient items as possible. This set is crazy powerful right now and will likely be nerfed before the patch is released. But for the time being, I saw a Crusader clear a Greater Rift 90 with this build on the PTR with some better optimized gear than me. But what I'm showing you right now is a speed 70 grift just to get an idea of the crazy power of this build. Let's start by taking a quick look at the skills. We're using Blessed Shield, Shattering Throw as our main attack. We will not be using a generator, and we'll explain why in just a bit once we get to the items. We're going Steed Charge Endurance for our mobility, Iron Skin, Steel Skin for a defensive option, Laws of Valor Critical in order to pump out some more damage, Shield Glare Divine Verdict as both a defensive and offensive option. We are blinding enemies and making them take more damage. Then lastly, Akarat's Champion Prophet, again as a defensive and offensive option. For our passives, Indestructible if you're going to be pushing the high Greater Rifts. Holy Cause will let us pump out some more damage and provide a little bit of healing because Blessed Shield is using the Holy Rune. Finery is all around just a great passive for Crusaders. And you ideally want to be running with Fervor if you're using a one-handed weapon, but you could sub that out for Heavenly Strength if you have to go with the subpar two-handed option, which we'll go through in just a bit. So as for our items, the most important thing is getting the Wailing Host and Litany of the Undaunted. The other key item here is the Jecking Board Shield. That makes Blessed Shield ricochet to 6 additional enemies. We'll also want a Gerfalcon's Foot, because that removes the resource cost of Blessed Shield. That's why we don't need a generator. We will constantly be at maximum wrath. And that's why we want the Aquila Cuirass. We will have permanent 50% damage reduction with this piece of body armor. Apart from that, we want Akan's Manacles in order to increase that Blessed Shield damage against our primary target. Then in our cube, we want Akan's Leniency, which is this weapon right here. And that gives you a 30% buff to your Blessed Shield damage for every enemy you hit with Blessed Shield. It lasts 3 seconds and it can stack, I believe, up to 30 times. So this damage really adds up. Now ideally you want to equip Gerfalcon's Foot as a one-handed item and cube Akan's Leniency. If you can't though, you could cube Gerfalcon's Foot instead and wield Akan's Leniency, but then you're going to be attacking slower. This is a build that really benefits from faster attack speed. You're never consuming any resource. The advantage of a two-handed weapon over a one-handed weapon is that it hits slower and harder and thus makes more efficient use of your resources. Since resources are not an issue, you want to be hitting as fast as possible. The rest of what we have in this build isn't mandatory, but does help. The Convention of Elements Cubed is just a great damage option all around for most builds. Ancient Parthan Defenders will give you that extra survivability that you'll need at the higher Greater Rifts. Then ideally for a helmet, you'd probably want a Leoric's Crown, but again, it's more important to get an ancient item. Every ancient item you have is 800% damage. For your belt, ideally you want a Witching Hour in order to squeeze out more damage. The perfect amulet would be a Hellfire Amulet, in which case your 5th passive should probably be Long Arm of the Law. But altogether, that's really the crux of this build. With my very poorly optimized gear, I easily cleared up to level 75, and really the only thing that stopped me from pushing higher was time constraints. But again, someone is on the leaderboards having cleared Greater Rift 90 in 10 minutes with an optimized version of this build. We won't get into the minutia of what stats you want on which items and where to apply your Paragon points, because again, this build is likely highly suspect to change. I just wanted to give you a taste of how crazy powerful it is. But for the time being, just assume that standard gearing rules apply. As for your legendary gems, you'll want to go with Bane of the Stricken, because that really benefits from that fast attack speed. Bane of the Trapped, always a fantastic option. And lastly, Pain Enhancer will give us a nice bit of extra damage but also increase our attack speed. That wraps up this video. Thanks for watching. Again, check back in the future for updates and new Crusader builds. The PTR is still young. We're gonna see a lot of crazy awesome stuff continue to emerge. Leave a comment letting me know what kind of build you want to run with Crusader. Check out these other videos, and if you enjoyed this one, share with friends, leave a comment, hit like, and subscribe to join Rhykker's Raiders.